2, 3. Oh, sorry. Hey guys, Chris Chien here. This is my new podcast called Theme Park Arts, where we explore the different disciplines. I'm a concept artist working in the theme entertainment industry. Worked on a lot of different theme parks in the US, in the Middle East, in China, a lot of different projects. This is my friend, Jamil. Jamil, do you want to introduce yourself?
How you guys doing? Jamil Williams here. Work within the industry here in Orlando. I've been here for about 18 months, and I've loved and keep loving every bit of it. Learning and working with Chris and meeting other different colleagues here. Just sharpening my tools to get better. Being a young architectural designer in this industry.
Yeah, that's really cool because I've seen Jamil work on a lot of architecture stuff, and I'm just a concept artist, so I think it's really cool that you do a lot more of like when stuff goes to build,
right.
and I do mostly in like the front end kind of stuff.
Right.
So it's kind of like we're working on the same project but in different times.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, let's get into the podcast. So what we're gonna do today is it's Halloween season, and we have a bucket of questions, and we're gonna trick or treat questions. Jamil, would you like to take the first question?
Sure. Let me see what I got here. All right. What are some upcoming trends in theme parks? Your prediction. That's an interesting question. Upcoming trends in terms of like experience-wise or...
Yeah, what are you excited to see? Of course, people are going to say the technology is always going to get better with like AR, VR and stuff like that. But
Right.
What are you excited about? Like what do you think is the future of theme park or theme entertainment?
More immersive experiences. I mean, if you look at, Pandora and Animal Kingdom, Galaxy's Edge, it seems like, they're the designers, the artists, the people who design and build these lands are looking to get more into immersive environments, not just, coining the term, but actually going into detail, bringing in story. I'm looking to see how far that can develop to where it places us there. I mean, Galaxy's Edge does a great job as well as Pandora, but I guess my question is to see what's the next step. How far could we go to where it's real? That's kind of, my outlook on that right now. What about you, Chris?
I have an idea. I have some thoughts about this. So I think when you go to like SATE or any kind of theme park conference, right? It's always about story.
True.
I think we're going to be going the other direction to the point where people will be like, okay, what if there's no story at all? What will it look like?
Okay.
So like, I know like Meow Wolf has been really popular, and that's like an art installation without really a story. You make the story yourself. There's no narrative. And then it's like, okay, what is theme entertainment if you take the story out? Can you still make it immersive experience that has a lot of depth without a narrative? Because a lot of stuff is IP based, whether or not it's a Disney film or some big Fast and the Furious movie, there's always some IP in it. What if you take out all the IP? What are you left with? What kind of experiential thing? Like there was something in France, like there was like this park, and it was at night, and there's no really story, but it was like the environment of, well, maybe the story is like the forest. It was called like Luminaire, the forest or something. Like something really cool sounding. But I think there might be like, how everything is like, first there's skinny jeans, and then there's really baggy jeans, and it goes back to the skinny jeans, So I'm thinking like, okay, like right now, people have coined the term like IP arms race, where everything is about IP and the story and immersiveness. I think maybe in the future we'll be like the other direction. As crazy as it sounds right now, because right now we're all about story and all about immersion.
That's true.
And all about those big Hollywood movies.
That's true. Yeah. That I didn't think about that.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Like maybe there's no money in that. I don't know.
Or maybe people are not. Yeah, like you said, people are not willing to pay because the kids. Because it seems like Disney and Universal they always prey on the kids because they know that they could sell the merchandise and all these things.
Not preying on the kids, like appealing to them.
There you go.
Okay, all right, my turn to ask the next question. It's all good, man. It's all good. All right, let's see. Okay. Oh, cool. This is your question. What's the main purpose of storytelling through themed entertainment? You know, storytelling, I do think it's important, right? I was going through Disney Springs once with one of my friends from college, and he was an Imagineer. And he was, like there's a Blaze Pizza there? Mm-hmm. He was telling me like there's a story about everything. How like, oh, this used to be a garage that got transformed into this and that. And then like over here, there's a dock. And then it was so intricate. And I was like, dude, like, is there like a booklet or a pamphlet where the guests can like read about this story? This is so interesting. And he's like, oh, no, this is only like for the Imagineers to know. And this is how we design it. And I feel like the storytelling may be more for the design team than it is for the actual guest. Like it's the fundamentals. Mm-hmm. And then they feel it.
Yeah.
It's just like about like show and ride control or something like really important, like or HVAC or plumbing. Like that's there so everything stays intact. And those are like the structural beams.
Right.
And if everything goes well, mm-hmm. the guest doesn't notice it, perhaps. What do you think? Do you think story is... So I'm thinking that story is a passive approach. What do you think? It's more active?
I think I do agree with you, but I do feel like there's... Like you made a good point. Why isn't there a pamphlet? And if Disney, right, Universal, these big companies, I feel like that might be a lost opportunity, because it enriches the experience, mm-hmm. right? Like, okay, you're going to Disney Springs. Yeah, it's nice. It's an elevated shopping experience, mm-hmm. that's created by Disney.
Oh, speaking of it, hey, check out the Galaxy's Edge pamphlet over there.
Oh yeah. See?
So I was just at Galaxy's Edge, right? And then they gave me a pamphlet, and like everything is kind of like explained and stuff, right. and there's like a decoder of the alphabet, mm-hmm. so it's like, wow, you can get really immersed, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I'm sorry, so we're just talking about pamphlet, and literally there's one right here,
right, which is kind of explains the story through the color, through the font, through the paper, through all that. Disney Springs, on the other hand, yes, it's a free experience. You don't have to pay, mm-hmm. so maybe that might be a reason. But I feel like the main purpose is to create something that guests could leave with, rather than like purchasing different things to show the memory of that character that they purchased this thing there. But I think the purpose of the storytelling is to take the guests to a place that they've never been to, or to enrich their life somehow, to give them hope, to give them, and I think that's kind of the whole premise of what theme parks is.
You mean like a type of like escapism, where they're like going to a different part of another world?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that makes sense. All right. Cool. Next question. Let's see. How do you like this thing so far?
This is cool. This is real cool. Let me see.
It's like trick-or-treating as adults, right?
Let me see. Okay. If you could create any theme park attraction, what would it be? Let's see. Any theme park attraction. Well, so my favorite theme park attraction is Indiana Jones in Disneyland. So something about that that ride, that attraction, when I got on that when I was younger, was that it took me to another place.
Yeah.
I was in this vehicle, this 4-wheel vehicle, and it was taking me through these different show scenes and these different experiences. Mm-hmm. So if I was going to create an attraction, it would riff, or it would have the premise of kind of the whole arc of what Indiana Jones is. Maybe
like the hero's journey?
The hero's journey. I love roller coasters, so maybe blending kind of, like a thrill but an adventure type of experience. Where at the end of it you feel like you've accomplished something and you did better and you come out the hero. Mm-hmm. Not really quite know what that is, but maybe a mix of space and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that's a classic theme park ride, huh?
It is.
Do they have Indiana Jones here in Disney World?
No, I
No?
think
Only in
Dinosaur
California?
is based off of the ride
Oh.
system. Dinosaur Animal Kingdom is.
You know, oh, sorry about that. You know what I like most about Indiana Jones was the queue, actually. And sometimes when I was on the fast pass,
Right.
I would just go through the queue so quickly, or like, I don't know why. There was maybe people got claustrophobic inside. I don't know operationally what was the reason, but we were like lining up outside, and when it got to the inside, the cool part of the queue, there was like no one there, and we just rushed through it.
Right.
But the queue is something that I really enjoy about theme park rides. Like
Okay.
that's the leading up. It really builds it up, you know. Without that, and if it's just a ride, I don't think that's like a complete experience.
Right.
Even though 3 hours in a queue sucks. Okay, like I agree on that, but it makes the experience, I think, richer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What about you, man? What's your?
You know, when I think of this question, I'd like to create a reality TV show of like building theme parks. So back when I was in college, there was something called Booth, which was like you built like this. It's like a haunted mansion, but imagine like it's springtime and you build the entire thing yourself. And I always thought it would be really interesting if like, I don't know, if I was rich enough one day I can sponsor like a reality TV show where they film the crew and everything
That'd
like
be cool.
that.
That would be real.
You know, it's like there's a lot of reality TV shows where you like remodel a house,
Right.
and there are a lot of people who build their own like haunted mansion thing in their own backyard.
That's true.
And I think it would be interesting if you do like a America's Next Top Model, but like theme park design kind of thing. And
Right.
it could be cool, and it's dangerous too. People are using, like different saws and everything. It could be a really cool show, and
That
a lot of
would.
sleepless nights. Really traumatic. So yeah, I'd like to create a TV series of a theme park competition. That's what I'd like to do.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. My turn, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, after we read the question, we need to burn it.
This guy got
Just
jokes.
All right. Okay, two questions. Where is the industry heading in the next 5 to 10 years? What do people want to see more of? Okay. All right. Oh yeah, I told you to. Okay. So, is this a similar question to the future thing? Jeez.
Somewhat, yeah. But
Okay.
it's giving a time though.
Okay.
5
5,
to 10 years.
10 years.
5 to 10 years. Yeah. What do you think?
5, 10 years. Jeez, I don't
Do you
know.
think it's gonna do what you said, where we're gonna like not do stories anymore?
I do feel like there's more indie stuff coming out, like Meow Wolf
Okay.
and Evermore.
Evermore.
Like that
yeah,
has
I
been
heard
getting
about that.
a lot of respect in the theme entertainment community. I think probably it's gonna win one of those awards, at the Thea Awards next year,
yeah.
because a lot of the theme park blogs have been like talking about it and publishing it. Possibly.
It'd be cool to check it out.
Yeah, yeah. And it's kind of like, it's the small stuff. Like, Galaxy's Edge was amazing, right? But I don't know, for some reason, I've been reading all these articles, like, not a lot of people went for some reason. I don't know why. But it was amazing, and maybe people want something more small and intimate. Possibly. Because, okay, here's what I'm getting at, right? Here's what I'm getting at. This is something I've heard. On Instagram, like there's a trend of like where everyone's life looks perfect, right? There's that
Right.
Instagram look, right? So I heard the new trend now is called e-boy or e-girl, which is kind of like this grunge aesthetic, where this new trend of young teenagers, they're like, I don't want to look perfect, I want to look imperfect and more grungy. So it's like the younger generation always wants to do something differently than the older generation.
Right.
Like they don't want to use Facebook because that's what their older brother uses.
Right.
They want to
That
do
makes
something
sense.
new and different. So I feel like people always are looking for something that's new and different.
That makes sense. That makes
But
sense.
it's harder for large corporations to bet on that because it costs them a lot of money and it's a lot of risk.
And stockholders.
So we see smaller companies who have less to lose
That's
take
true.
those risks.
There you go. That
So-
makes sense.
I think people will see more indie theme parks like Meow Wolf and Evermore.
Evermore.
Even though I've never been there, so I can't say for myself.
Right.
But just from reading the articles, it seems like there's a lot of hype.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, I feel like maybe, Disney, Universal, SeaWorld, they might look to these people, within their design
The Void,
teams.
The Void,
The Void.
right? They were like this indie thing, and then now they did stuff. Wreck-It Ralph.
That's
they
true.
did a Star Wars one.
Yeah.
There's something in Santa Monica in LA. So it's like
Dreamscape.
I've never heard of them.
That.
No.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's
Dreamscape?
I think Dreamscape. That's with like Steven Spielberg, Bruce Vaughan. I believe like they kind of headed up that VR experience, and I believe that's in LA.
Oh really?
Yeah, and
Oh,
I
I've
heard
never
it's
heard of
pretty cool. It would be awesome to check that out. But it's riffing off of the whole Void thing, but creating these environments in VR.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of where it's heading. In the next 5 to 10 years in the parks, I feel like there's going to be more integration, because I feel like the technology has gotten to a point where there's not too many bugs that they have to work out, where they could release it full-fledged and like kind of manage it on a better scale.
Where I feel like Disney's expertise is, or like Universal, is probably in the operations. Because like when you look at like Meow Wolf or something like that, right? Maybe they're a bunch of artists like working together and they can create something really unique and different. But would they be able to handle 50,000 people going through that every single day?
Right.
They'll be like, holy, this is like a lot more than we know how to handle. But a big theme park like Disney knows how to do that. So that would be cool to see like big companies partnering with these indie companies, so that they can scale their business, so they can, help a lot more people go through the art and the theme experience that they created.
And they could access families and people who might not have the money to come out here, but Disney or Universal is accessible in different locations.
We just had to take a little break there. Camera issues. Whose turn is it to do the question?
I think it's mine.
Your turn.
Let me
Yeah.
See here. Tell us about your favorite theme park experience.
Well, you already told us about the Indiana Jones thing.
But that's not my favorite.
That's not your favorite?
My favorite theme park experience was, I don't remember the age. I know it was under 10. Grew up in, Southern California. So my mom would take me to the theme parks, in my younger years, at least twice a year. And I remember the first time that I saw Fantasmic.
Oh, okay.
I was maybe 8, 7, around that age. And after seeing that, I wanted to be a part of what they did and how they did it. That changed my outlook on what Disney is. And that's when I kind of did research about WDI and the type of work they do. And that kind of got me into this industry, if you will.
Oh, that's cool.
What about you, man?
I never thought of myself as some people call themselves like theme park nerds, like huge theme park experts.
Right.
I would probably say like I'm an artist first.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind working on like films or games or theme parks, but I do really like hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of theme park stuff, you have to prototype and it's in the real world.
Right.
And like I like doing murals, anything like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be a theme park, but I do love all the skills required to make them. It's really interdisciplinary. You're not just working with people of your discipline. You have to work with architects, engineers.
That's true.
Theater, different computer people, programmers,
Right.
operations.
Right.
Everyone has to come together. We all need to respect our each individual art form and discipline.
Yep.
And I think that's really cool.
Okay, so no favorite theme park experience? Off the top?
Maybe what is it called? Space Mountain. I like that. But you know what? I would say my favorite theme park experience is the people that I'm with.
There you go.
I think that's what really makes it
That's good.
special.
Yeah.
One time I was at this theme park in France called Futuroscope.
Oh, wow.
And then I was asking the kids, like, hey, so what was like your favorite ride here? What was your favorite? And they pointed to like these slides, these metal slides, and stuff like that. And you went down. It was really cool, though. It was really cool. But I think it goes to show that it's more about the friends, your friends, and who you're with. make up much more of your experience
true.
than whatever designer had planned for you.
Right.
Because, if you had a bad experience with a staff member, or maybe you got in a fight with your family while on the ride, that spoils the entire thing.
That's true.
So in some aspects, some of it is out of the designer's control, and it's up to the guest to make the most of their experience and make their own memories.
Yeah, I like that answer. That's good. I think it's your turn, bro.
Oh yeah. Okay, we have 2 more questions. What do you like most about working in theme entertainment?
That's a good question.
I like how fast-paced it is.
Okay.
Sometimes it gets really crazy, and you have to do a lot of work in a short amount of time. It kind of reminds me of school. You know what's up, right?
Yep, I second you on that.
It's crazy, and it almost feels like you're at war.
Dang.
Where people are like, like come in, like people come in at 5 a.m., like staying really late, and I don't know. Sometimes I might be taking it too seriously, because we're not saving lives here. It's not life or death. Like no one's gonna die.
Right.
Well, possibly, unless like you're an engineer and like something, But generally, like my job as like an illustrator, like no one's gonna die.
That's true.
And we're not saving lives or anything, but I do like how passionate people are about their work. Like staying really late, coming in really early to work on their projects. It's the process that I like the most.
Okay. I like that.
What about you?
What was the question again?
What do you like most about working?
I like the fact that I get to help create an experience that could probably change someone's life. With Walt, like his whole thing, was about creating a theme park for his children, to be happy, and it's been birthed into this phenomena that people save thousands of dollars, to come, right, and experience this experience. And I think it's a great opportunity that we have to work on these projects and help people enjoy their vacation, give them an escapism, let them forget about their bills, let them forget about stress, worries, sicknesses, anything like that is kind of out the door because of what we get to do. So I think it's an honor, and I think we're fortunate that we get to be in this industry.
Yeah, we're kind of making magic, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Making magic. Yeah. I think that's a typical answer of most like Imagineers and stuff.
Right.
Like they would say something like that. The people and the reaction is really what makes it really satisfying to them.
Definitely, man. Cool. How do we have?
I think one last question. I think it's yours.
I think it's yours.
No, this one.
All right, man.
I took this one.
Let's see.
All right, last question.
What are some challenges about your job? Wow. Okay.
You can just speak in general terms, all right? No NDA is broken or whatever.
Yeah, so challenges sometimes with being in the themed environments is there's a lot of stakeholders that are involved in the process.
Yeah.
And which is a good thing because everyone wants their idea shown and brought to life. So that's kind of the challenge, is making sure everybody is being heard and everyone is getting what they want shown and what they want incorporated into the design.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wait, when you say that, you're an architect, right? So from your end, is it like the engineers and the architects and other operations people?
Yes.
Are you talking about like the different disciplines?
Yes. Well, like speaking in architecture terms, there's things that need to be done as far as architecture is concerned. You have code. Yeah, code. You have like egress, life safety, like all these things are very important for a building to be occupied. Yeah. And but then you have the creative intent. Yeah. That might want to push boundaries, but sometimes it can't be pushed because There's regulations and restrictions that, are caused because of, being in the U.S. There's certain things that have to be done a certain way for a building to be occupied.
Yeah.
So that type of stuff.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
What about for yourself? Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say, because in film and video games, I have a lot of friends working there.
Right.
A video game, of course, has a lot of constraints, but I can imagine in the real world, when you're making that building, there's a lot more at stake.
Yeah.
Or in a movie, right? You want that building to, okay, we'll just do it in post, in green screen.
That's
or something
true.
like that.
Yeah.
We can't really do that. You guys are doing it for real, which is a lot of respect.
Thanks, man.
What are some challenges about my job? So right now, I'm kind of like a business owner, freelancer. I would say that what's kind of tough is that a lot of the theme entertainment industry is project based. So it's really typical for things to go on, okay, you have work now, and then there's no work, and then there's a lot of work, more than you can handle, where you're turning down projects or not sleeping, and then there's no work.
Right.
So I think you need that mental fortitude and that faith that everything will work out. Because we're passionate about our jobs, but we also need to be practical about, getting a paycheck. And I think that's really cool. Right now you're working a full-time job and stuff like that.
Right.
But a lot of other people are doing contract work, even at a big company, right?
That's
true. A big corporation, it can go on and off, and you never know nowadays. So being thankful whenever I am on a project, and whenever I'm off a project, I'm hustling and making my portfolio and updating myself and stuff like that, and doing podcasts like this.
Right. I have a question though to add to that. Do you think this industry will maybe in the next 5 to 10 years be able to create more opportunities for less contract work and more permanent work?
I would say if anything, it's moving towards the opposite. Uber, Lyft, Grubhub.
Right.
Our economy is moving towards a contract-based kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
but is that a good thing though? I mean, that's kind of what I've been thinking the past few weeks is okay, it's not just theme and, like you said, it's different companies that are on contracts, right? Different people do things based on contracts. They get, the work, they do the work for a certain amount of time, and then they move on to something else. But, like you said, you have to get a paycheck, and, what do you think? You think that's the way it's going to go?
I have something to say about this topic, right? In 2019, right? I would say that it's the best time for you to be a freelancer or independent creator. Because you have things like YouTube, social media, this kind of stuff to get your work out there.
True.
Back in the day, if I wanted to be some artist, I'd need to go through an agency, or it'd have to be straight up word of mouth. I'd have to know the person, and they have to pass on my resume. Let's say there was no email back then, right? But nowadays, you can post your work online. And if your work is good enough, like a meritocracy, right? If your work is really good, people will see it, So I think it's more fair. It's democratization, right? If you're in whatever third world country and your work is really, really good, it will find a way that people will see it.
That's good. That's true.
So I think the opportunity is more than ever today, and it will become more democratized and in the upcoming years.
Wow. It's good, man.
Yeah. Oh, it is a lot easier said than done.
True.
Getting good is one of the hardest parts.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time, Jamil.
Yeah, no worries, man. Thanks for inviting me. This was great.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning into our first podcast. Let us know what you think. If you have some answers to the questions and you want to write down your own opinions and your own stories, please do. I know that there are a lot of theme entertainment professionals watching this, and thank you so much to you guys.
Thank you.
And if you're a student watching this, leave us a comment. Let us know where you're going to school. If you have any ideas on future episodes, future podcasts, please let us know. Be sure to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.